Welcome to Senior Runner, and I'm happy to say I've just actually given a very nice. I love to be controversial. I've just given out a nice video. I sent out a short, and the short was basically, could you run while you're injured? Well, to be quite honest, yeah, you can. I mean, you can run while you're seriously injured if you want. You might not ever run again, might not ever walk again, but you can. So it got hammered by what I believe to be some of these monetized running channels. So we got totally disliked by the bigger monetized running channels, which really is rather stupid because I'm not monetized. I'm not going to get there. I don't have enough subscribers, so I ain't going to get that far. So it was pretty pointless of them, really. It just annoys you. It just annoys me. It annoys the crap out of me. But the point is, I'd actually done another video where I looked at the University of Oregon, and they'd actually said, "Oh yeah, you can." The best thing is when your muscles are reconstituting themselves with that extra protein and helping fix the injury. They're actually stronger. They return stronger, and they can actually hold more of the energy that goes through the body. So energy absorption wise, once damaged muscle is actually a lot better. It absorbs more energy. It can't give out as much, but then that's only really bad to people who are at the top of the game. People like me, beginners, intermediates, actually we'll actually end up better off for it. So according to the University of Oregon, then I got injured, didn't I? and I don't. Most of you re-watching this will remember. I always say I try everything out. Now, great, I'll try everything out. And I've just done a video. I'm not going to re-go through the video, but basically it's saying I actually found just keeping the muscles running that little bit did help me not get worse and worse and worse exponentially. So that I didn't sit down and do nothing for 3 days. I actually just kept going. I had 1 day rest, but I would have done that anyway. So I just changed the severity of the running that I did. Yeah, it took me 5 days to get over it instead of 3, but as well as I do. I sit down for 3 days. The first 2 days back are going to be just gently bring yourself back in over 2 or 3 days, and eventually sort of 3 or 4 days later you're back to your normal self running wise, but you're probably still not back up to where you started before you were injured, because you've had a rest and gone down. So I was a bit annoyed with that. This week has been absolutely amazing, guys. I've learned so much this week. I don't want to go into the figures because I talk about the figures all the way through, and we did a progression run, and we did some sprints, goal pace, and I'm thinking, oh hell, this is going to be interesting. 50 minutes at goal pace is not going to be easy because I'm not really used to all of that 8-minute pace for 50 minutes. But actually I did, well, it said I did 60%, just under the good. I just nipped in the top end of average. But actually looking at it, I did really, really well, and I kept to about, I think my averages were about 8, at the end were about 8, somewhere between 8:15 and 8:19, somewhere like that. And I think that's quite good. Still got some improvement. I still need to nip that right up to 8 minutes. Can I do it in 6 weeks? 5.5 weeks? Yeah, probably can. And why would I say that? With a sort of air of half confidence, and it's something that happened a couple of weeks ago, and I did it on this little update on one of the Friday evening ones, and I said to you all, look, I've just done I think it was 1 or 2 big runs, and I'd done the warm up at 9.5 minute mile, and I'd looked at the figures afterwards, and it concurred that when I was looking at it, doing this 9.5 minute mile warm up, I'm looking at my watch thinking, my heart rate's zone 2. My heart rate's zone 2 after half a mile. This is not normal. It is not normal. Zone 2, to me, to get that top end, if I'm running, I'm way above that top end of zone 2. And that's come down to about 121 now. So 121 is the top end of my zone 2. So to come down to that is pretty low for me, especially on running 9.5 minute miles. So I thought nothing of it, and this week I'm doing the I think 3 days a week. I do it. Garmin asks you to do an easy run. Now their easy run for me is 9 minutes 10 to 10 minutes 10. I'm looking at the clock to sort of like get the minutes right. 9 minutes 10 to 10 minutes 10 per mile. So I'm doing this about 9 minutes 20 to 9 minutes 40, and 40%, 43%, 44%. I think it's a pretty high percentage. Is in zone 2, and I'm thinking, this is nightmarish. How the hell? And all of a sudden, you know, the little chart that you get, your training status chart. You've got the anaerobic at the top. Then you got your middle aerobic and your low aerobic. For months, probably years, it's been saying you haven't done enough low aerobic. No, I can't bloody reach it. And all of a sudden, I found, I can do a sort of walk and a sort of jog, and then walk a bit and then jog a bit. So I managed to sort of do it in the warm-ups and the cool-downs and just get it in that little gap just at the beginning. And now it's telling me off. And like, your low aerobic bar is far too long, and it's like all the way to the other end. And after this Monday, I looked at it after the Monday one, and it was just like warning me and telling me, you're doing far too much lower. Jeez, where's that come from? Oh, excuse me. Well, that's my half a lung doing it again, isn't it? And I'm quite surprised, because all of a sudden I can do 9 minutes 10 to 10 minutes 10, and I'm in the middle of that and doing zone 2 running, and I'm like, I don't know where that's come from. The only thing I can think of, because it's increased an awful lot this week, over the last sort of 10 days, it suddenly started to go, this is quite strange, quite incredible. But it's straight after my injury. Now during the injury, I decided to keep on with a bit of, as my trainer said, do excuse me, as my trainer said, a little bit of light running, as long as you're not, a light jogging or light exercise. He actually said light exercise, as long as you're not hurting the injury and not making it any worse, you're okay. So I did 10 minutes 5 to 10 minutes 15, and I was sort of right on the slowest stage of what Garmin training wanted. I was only about 50-60% on, so I was actually a little bit slower than that on average. I was about 4 or 5 seconds slower than what I should have been at my slowest edge. But a lot of that running for like an hour or 45 minutes was done right at the very bottom edge of what Garmin's training is telling you to do. Now, whether it's that or not, I can't prove it, but that is the only thing I've changed. I had an injury, I slowed the base run down right to the very bottom, and all of a sudden, the next 10 days later, I'm looking back at my training information. Base runs really, really easy. Not only that, but I'm getting back and looking at the chart and thinking, well, it's zone 2. And then, woe betide if it didn't either yesterday or the day before. Now I started on a highest. My top maximum heart rate was 188 when I first restarted running 3 years ago, and over that time it sort of like stuck at about 182, and it's now at about 100. It's now gone down to about 172. Literally a couple of days ago, so your maximum heart rate is now reset to 172, and I can't deny it. I've actually only ever seen it get as high as 166 in sprints, and I'm thinking, this training has really changed it, and since doing this particular training, about 7 weeks ago, my heart rate, my maximum heart rate, has just gone straight down. My heart rate at rest has gone down, and I'm able to hit zone 2 running with sort of 9.5 minute jogs. Certainly a 9:45 would be probably almost always in zone 2, and now I get told off for doing that, and I need to do some more middle aerobic and keep up the anaerobic. So I'm really shocked how it's worked, but I think what we need to take from it is the Garmin training is general, isn't it? And it's over everybody. We've got to remember what I said last time. It's not trying to get you to use the watch. It's trying to get you to the actual training app itself, or training plan itself, is trying to get us to do it in our heads. So we're running along, we're not looking at our watch like that and say, oh, I'm 20 seconds too fast, I need to slow down. You need to be able to think it in your head, like, okay, a second, bang. If I do that every 3, or the other day I was playing, yesterday I was doing music, and I know that's about 176 to 180 beats a minute, and I know if I do a certain type of length of stride, it's almost spot on 8 minutes. So I'm doing that, and I'm pretty much okay. I did have a couple of looks at the watch, and those 3 training runs this week. Occasionally, I'd be sort of like a bit fast, especially at the beginning, and at the end. Now you're thinking you're too slow. And I've got to try and learn more that, when I'm slowing down, I know that I'm slowing down. And there's 2 ways of doing that. One is just is obviously looking at the watch, which I have done this week most of the time. And then you're sort of like, okay, we'll try and speed up, and then we'll look at his watch to make sure we're in the middle. The other is to have a piece of music that you can use as your base point, if you like, and you can either play it, get out your phone and say, right, play that one, and juggle the rest of it, or you can just remember it in your head. Most people can remember it in their head, can't they? Their best tune, their best running tune, and then you sing it to yourself as you go. No. Nelly the elephant packed a trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Now I can sing that in 2 beats. And that's the important thing. So if I'd sing that in my fastest beat, Nelly back, that's 180 beats a minute. And I know if I do a certain stride, I'm okay. So I can sing it and make sure my stride is concurrent with it. Or I can look at my watch and say, okay, I need to just speed up a bit for the stride length I'm doing, and etc. But yeah, I think we need to just make it in our minds that it's best not to look at the watch. I do concur that I do need to stop doing that, and I have done that a little bit this week. I have started to just rely on the music, and so good. I did. Yeah. So as you didn't know, I had meningitis when I was 40, and I shot half of my left lung. So I only got 1.5 lungs. So I've enjoyed this week, and I got to a point at the end where I was looking at it. It was actually yesterday's run. I felt like dancing. I did a little bit of a jig and a dance, and I actually did a spin round on one foot, and at the end, and I'm thinking I've just done an hour running at goal pace. That was a goal pace run, and I got to the end, and I'm doing like a jig and a spin in the middle of the road. And I'm thinking, yes, I was really good, and I'm thinking, this is insane. I remember last time I did the goal pace run. Really got to do better than this. I really can. I can do a mile in 7 minutes. I've done a mile in 7 minutes and 4 seconds. Surely to God I can do. I think it was asking last time about. It's 60 minutes run this time. It was about a 40-minute run last time, and I'm thinking you should be able to do that, because you can do a 5k in less than that. And in about 7 minutes 50. So why can't I do without any problem? So and I remember reporting to you, I should be able to do like 40 minutes at 8 minutes. Really should. I did the half marathon last year at Gosport in 8 minutes 30, I think it was. I was trying to get 8 minutes, and I got 8:30, and I thought, it's so windy, I'll just trot it round. And in the end, I did 9 miles at 8 minutes 40 average. So I should be able to do that 7 minutes 55 to 8 minutes 20 in that time. For that time. And the change has been quite good this week, and I've enjoyed it. It's been one of those things where you just think the heart rate's just nice and easy now. I saw something on the internet. It was on YouTube. A lot of things we get from YouTube nowadays, don't we? But I did one on YouTube, and I had a look round. So I was interested in this. In the heart rate at rest, and apparently the average person is between sort of like 60, 70, 80. If you're starting to get above 100, then you're a big percentage at risk of heart disease and heart failure. I think it was saying Sebastian Coe's was ultra low. It was about 38 at heart rate rest. And my heart rate at rest gone from about 70 down to mid 60s. I think it was 58. The last time it had changed it, my heart rate at rest now is about 58, 57. And so it's at the bottom edge, and everything seems to be just gently settling down. The only thing that I've got that really doesn't bode well really is the HRV score keeps dropping, because I don't know, it's interesting. It always drops when I'm going to get a cold, as everybody keeps reporting, and it really does. So if you see your HRV dropping and it drops for about 3 days, you think, oh God, I've got a cold coming. Oh God. But it's a good way of trying to boost your immune system quickly with vitamins and vitamin C and a couple of bottles of orange juice or something. So it does help you to watch the Garmin stats on there. Really does. So yeah, I've had a really good week. The Zone 2 running at 9 minutes 30 is just ridiculous. I'd like to do, like I said last week, a few more sprints and get. I wasn't quite happy about those 7 minutes. There were 7-minute sprints that we did at some point in the last 10 days, and I remember thinking, I've got to be able to do faster than that. I've got to do better than that, because I know I can do it, and it's really annoying when you sort of look at it and think, I this time last year I could do 7 minutes 5 for a mile, and it's a bit annoying that, but yeah, that's been interesting. So all in all, it's been really good. I think the big thing of this week is that I do like upsetting people, and I did that video at the beginning of the week about can you? I did a short about can you run while injured. Now, if you haven't, I don't know who's on, but if you go and click it, and it's actually true, because I got injured and I ran that. I did keep running. Now I kept running at the very bottom end of what Garmin wanted me to do, so 10 minutes 5 to 10 minutes 15 per mile. But it kept the muscles running, so that I didn't have any de-training. I actually kept it just up to that point where I knew that I got an injury, but in my thigh, but it wasn't hurting. So it wasn't. I definitely wasn't damaging anything any more than what it already was. But it wasn't getting better at the same rate as if I'd have just had 3 days off. And my trainer said, "You're okay to do light training, as long as it's not damaging the muscle, the thigh that you've actually hurt, because you've strained it." So I think light training means sort of like right at the bottom end of your easy run would be okay. And I said, well, okay. I went on here and I did a short, and I said, oh yeah, you can do light training. You can train while you're injured, as long as it's not hurting. As soon as it hurts, then you're ripping the actual cells apart, and then you have to really you can't. Then you have to stop. It's like a piece of paper. If you have a little tiny tear and you put more and more energy on it, eventually it'll just rip straight through. So as soon as you get that pain, you've got to stop completely. But can you? Yeah, you can. Even if it's a big, not a 3-day injury like mine. If it's something like that's what I had last week. If it's something more serious like a 2 or 3 week injury, then yeah, you might be only. Your trainer will probably tell you can do a bit of medium walking, or one of those power walks, but no more than that, because you'll probably find it twinge or start to sting a bit. And that's the idea. As soon as it starts to sting, then you're thinking, no, we've took it too far. We now need to, we're going to have to either really slow down, stop, walk back. So I said, yeah, you can. It's not as simple as just to say you can't. And you shouldn't, but can you? Yes. And that video got, believe it or not, it's my 3rd most disliked video. It really is. So I want as many people to share that thing and get me back up to a decent like percentage, because I believe, it's only my shorts that get it. So I believe it's these big monetized institutions like the Running Channel are sort of blasting me with the dislikes, which is really annoying. It's annoying the hell out of me. But no, you can run while injured. It's not the best. You've got to make sure that. Because it takes longer to heal, but on the obvious side of it, if you actually if I'd have stopped for 3 days, I know that I would have detrained, and it's exponential. You quickly start detraining more and more time you take. Whereas if you actually just keep a little bit of movement in all the muscles, you don't detrain as much, if anything at all, just slightly. And you come out of it a lot fitter, but not you come out of it later. So I suppose it's a bit chicken and egg, which one you'd prefer. I preferred not to detrain and then have to start a little bit slower and pick the pace up over the next 2 or 3 days, like 3 days off, 2 or 3 days to build it back up again. So after a week, I might have been almost back where I was just before the injury. And I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to come out of it later, in this case it was 5 days later, and then just gently run. And I actually managed to start the training right back at the same intensity instead of stepping it up, because I knew I was okay. So yeah, that's the big thing I've learned this week is that I did that the other week, and my 9.5 minute runs are now right in the middle of zone 2. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. I know that I had a couple of people on there. I know a lot of people do replay this, so if you are replaying it, I will put a link in the description for the short. So if you want to go and see the short, then please do. I'll put a link in for the video as well, because the video's more of a sort of rant about how people seem to be just disliking things for the hell of it, when actually you've got to get your coulds and shalls correct, mate. those people who want to dislike it because I put could, you could run on a serious injury. It's not a good idea, and you'll probably never run again, might never walk again, but you could. So don't start saying disliking things unless you've actually thought about what I've said. And I've said it, you could. Yeah, you could. There are certain times when you wouldn't want to, but there are times when you could, and mentally you might prefer to do it that way, like I did. So I will stop ranting. I will say goodbye. It's Senior Runner over for another week. I shall see you next week. Thank you for keep replaying it and keep rewatching.